Hey, Jeremy Serier here from Mansard. So you're preparing a commercial property valuation. You want to figure out what your property value might be, your commercial property value, and you're trying to figure out, hey, what's the best way for me to go about pulling the right sales comps? So let's go ahead and take a look how we do that. All right, so here at Mansard, we follow really kind of three simple rules that it's like a 3T. And what I mean by that is we have three items that we look for when we're selecting and filtering sales comparisons for commercial property valuation. The first one is timing. So the time that the property has sold from your comp list is very, very important. And the reason for that is if you go too far back in the past, the comparable will not be reliable when you're putting your commercial property valuation together. So we tend to go no further than 24 months back, and sometimes we'll go 12 months depending on what the market cycle's done. And so that's also a part of the timing. If there are abrupt changes in the market cycle, like we've come out of a hypersupply into recession, or we're out of recession coming into expansion, it may not be reliable to go back very far in time. You may need to look to a shorter period of time to come up with the appropriate period to pull your comp from. We're generally comfortable going anywhere from 12 to 24 months. Most often will be between 12 and 18 months on a look back for the timing of the sales comparison for the commercial property valuation. The second T is the type. Now, commercial property comes in a lot of different types. You have hotels, you have office, multifamily, retail, industrial, and then you get into all these subtypes like medical office, distribution center, so on and so forth. You want to make sure that you're comparing the same types of properties to one another. And what's odd about commercial property, makes it kind of interesting, is that you can have two buildings side by side and they can be completely different values based on the economic fundamentals of how they perform. So when you're doing a commercial property valuation, you want to make sure that you're picking sales comparisons that are of a similar type. That means that you may have to go beyond the immediate vicinity to find that type of property. Once you find that type, by size, by quality, condition, by tenant configuration, it will allow you to come up with a shorter list of sales comparisons that are more reliable for your commercial property valuation. The third T is trade area. So trade area is the immediate area from which the property tends to attract the most amount of tenant activity. And what I mean by that is if you were to look at a market center and you see that, say an industrial property, for example, sitting at a major interchange, as you go out from that major interchange 5, 10, 15 miles, you'll start to see tenant interest transition based on the socioeconomic concentration of activity. So you want to make sure when you're pulling your sales comparisons that you're staying within a trade area that is relevant to the tenants in the market, because they're ultimately driving the performance of the income for the property that is developing the valuation. And that's corresponding into your sales comparison model. So the commercial property valuation that pulls from timing is important. Second is the type, making sure that you're comparing apples to apples, the most similar properties possible. And the third is the trade area from which you're pulling the sales comparisons for that commercial property valuation to be sure that you're getting reliable sales comparisons. I see mistakes made in this all the time. There is some subjectivity to how these sales comparisons are picked. So make sure that when you're doing this, you're careful about which ones you select. And by the way, when you see an appraisal, take a look at the sales comparisons they use, because I even see in some appraisals sales comparisons that aren't reliable. So if you follow these three tips using the 3T approach, it will help you to quickly get to sales comparisons that will get you to a commercial property valuation that's within a pretty tight range of value, and that's going to give you a lot more confidence when you're preparing your decision, your investment decision. Because look, you deserve to make this a smart decision with your real estate, and knowing what's going on in the market is very important. If you like this video, please like it, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. Look forward to seeing you again. Thanks.